Welcome to Leaving Nothing to Chance, your go-to podcast where we bring you insights from some of the most influential voices in small business and personal development. Each week, we dive deep into conversations with top thought leaders, authors, and business moguls from around the world, sharing their secrets to success and strategies for growth. Tune in for exclusive content that will inspire, motivate, and equip you to take your journey to the next level. This is Leaving Nothing to Chance.
Hey, part two. And just to refresh everybody from last week, once upon a time I survived myself. The beautiful and smart and young and wow, just so effective Rylin. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm back and I'm honored. I'm so grateful that you liked our first episode, or second actually, so much that you wanted me back on.
I have a rule with authors, and that is that they got to be living, number one.
I
But
made it. Come on, look at me. I'm
yes,
here.
you qualify. But more than that, they got to have a story to tell that can bless other people. And your story, my friend, is a blessing. And I think it's going to help a lot of people when this book really gets out there in a big way. And you start not only with your podcast and other people's podcasts, but when you get out there and people say, hey, we got to get this girl talking to our church group or our whatever group, you're gonna help a lot of, you already are helping a lot of people, but you're gonna help a lot of people because you went through some very difficult times at a very tender age. And it's ironic because I had a teacher help me at about the same age that you had one, and Mrs. DeBacker, I hope I'm saying her name. It looks like she's passed away, but Mrs. DeBacker, you say she never saw me as a problem; she saw the potential. Wow. Tell.
I just got chills. I think she's in here. I totally think she's in the room with me right now. And I think when you're, and you can probably agree, when you're a kid and you've been through so much and you've even had teachers tell you you're not going to be anything or whatever, tell you the wrong, which I don't think any teacher should. Why do you have that teaching degree if that's what you're going to say to a kid? But I think when you've experienced the worst, you prepare for the worst, and it's hard for you to see yourself in a positive light. And I remember walking into that classroom, I was quiet. And I know you're laughing. When I was on Chris's podcast, Chris Champion, we love him. He was like, "You were quiet?" "No, you weren't." I was like, "Yeah, I was a quiet kid. I observed everything and I noted everything, but I wouldn't speak." And that's funny because I have a podcast now and I won't shut up. But I walked into her classroom as a shy 15, 14-year-old that didn't really believe in herself and in her writing and in these ideas. And I saw a teacher that almost took a mirror and mirrored back my reflection to me and told me, "You can do this. I don't know what told you or who told you or what happened to you for you to believe otherwise, but here's this mirror. You can do this, and I believe in you, and I'm going to show you that." And she continued to shape my life. And after high school, we stayed in touch, and I really wouldn't be here without her. My podcast actually started because of her. She was like, "I believe in you. You have a story to tell. You need to tell your story." And I started my podcast, and unfortunately, she passed away before she even could hear it. But I did it in her honor because she believed in me at 14, and she still believed in me at 17. And everything I do today is because she believed in me. And I think having that experience really changed my life, because you have those people, and sometimes it's grief, sometimes it's just life, and they leave your path and it sucks. But their lesson and what they did for you never really leaves, and that's the most beautiful way to honor them.
What class did she teach?
She taught journalism.
Journalism. Okay. Okay. Funny. I had Mr. Rogers, same thing, just kind of said, you can actually write.
Right.
I
Like,
can't. I think I can do anything. I don't think I can do anything correct. And it was like, yeah, all you needed was that one person to say, you actually can do something.
it
And
just it takes that.
and by the way, to our friends in the teaching profession, this is why you are so important to all of our children's futures, that to believe in them, sometimes even when their parents don't. Hey, 2023. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Let's talk.
Recipes by Rye was born in 2023.
Recipes by Rye is now actually Take Care by Rye, because today I was like, you know what? I don't want to be put in a box. I love health, I love wellness, I love recipes, but I want to post it all. And that username I thought put me in a box. But Recipes by Rye was my digital world where I just was like, you know what? I need to take all this pain and I need to put it somewhere, and I need to share my thoughts and ideas with the world. And it started to grow, and it was crazy. I was like, wow, so many people are resonating with this food I'm posting, but also this caption that tells them why I resonate with this meal and why it's nourishing. But also, the thing about me, John, is and I'm sure you agree because you're also a writer and, an author, but I think when you post something, it's like click and post whatever. No, I want my caption to tell a story. So I wasn't just going to post the recipe. I was going to tell you why that food made me feel a certain way, why it's a staple in my life, and whatever I'm dealing with, that food helps me navigate. So many people just started clicking on, and next thing you know, I have best friends from all over the world because we resonate with each other and we connected over wellness and health. And I'm like, this is insane. I've never even met some of these people in real life, but I connect with them like they're my soul sister. So that community truly saved who I was at that time period because 2023 was what I call in that book the summer of hell. My body started to tell me something and I didn't know what was going on, and I needed a little space to put all of that.
Hey, your mom's been a big influence on you and a big support. Talk about her for a minute.
I wouldn't be the girl I am without my mom. My mom is extremely resilient. I grew up with a single mom. My dad passed away when I was a baby. I truly don't know a world without her, and I wouldn't be this version of myself without her. But whenever I am doubting or I am overthinking or I'm thinking I can't do it, I look at her and I think about all the things she's done and sacrificed to have me and to have my sister and to create this life for us to succeed and be who we are. And I'm like, you know what? She did it. She literally built this life of her own, and I can do it too. And I couldn't be here without her by my side. And she's a huge part of all of these ideas and thoughts. She hears about every single one and about every single thought that's, I can't do this, or, oh my gosh, mom. And then she's like, you know what? You are Rylin Rossano. And I'm like, okay, mom, fine. I can do it. I can do it. You're right. She always tells me like, oh, you went through this and that and you've been through worse. Come on. You can handle whatever comes next. And she's just my biggest supporter, and I wouldn't be here without her. So I love you, Mom. I know you're listening, but she truly is one in a million. And I'm really lucky to have someone that believes in me, but also is willing to stand by me even when I don't believe in myself.
And I can't wait to meet her. I think in January I'm going to be in Miami tentatively, so we get a chance to finally all meet. Talk
Oh
about
yeah, we have to do dinner. Come on.
that. Don't worry, I'm there. Italian food. Come on, come on. I grew up in New York. Let's talk about dreams because I know you talked about them a little bit. What are your dreams now?
I think, John, my goal is to impact people, but also continue to look in the mirror and be proud of the girl I am and the girl I'm becoming because I want, or the woman I'm becoming, because I want to make little me proud. I think it's hard when you've gone through so much of this stuff and then you go to sleep at night and you're like, would younger me be proud of who I am today? And if the answer is no, then that's fuel for tomorrow. You have more work to do and growth to complete, but I think I just want to create a life I love with things I love and people I love and make younger me proud and impact as many people as I can and continue to listen to my heart, which is telling me to keep podcasting and to keep writing. I'm already working on book two, so I'm excited for all of this to take me somewhere. But I think really my dream is to help people and to use my voice for good because I think we need more of that.
So let me quote this from chapter 41: Body image recovery, seeing yourself again. For a long time, I avoided mirrors, not because I hated what I saw, but because I didn't know who I was looking at.
So it's funny you mention that because for everyone who's read my book or is watching this, because I know John held it up, the cover art is actually a shattered mirror, which I think can resemble so much. But for me, that kind of resembles the time in my life when I looked in the mirror and I obviously saw myself, but I didn't really recognize who I was looking back at. And I think when you've gone through so much, it's almost like you lose yourself in the pain and you're like, who am I? If I'm not, I even say it in one of my chapters, if I'm not what happened to me, who am I? And that is what I went through because you survive it. Once upon a time, I survived myself, but who are you after you survive yourself? And I think that line really sits with the title because it's like, so I went through this really hard thing, but now that I went through that, how do I become the next version of me without falling back into who I just overcame?
Yeah, very, very true. And when the final tug comes, when someone tells you you're such an inspiration for the fifth time that week while you're silently fighting to get out of bed, you break.
So it's funny you actually just mentioned this. It's we all in whatever world we're in, the business world, the wellness world, the medical world, whatever. You save a patient, you get an award, you write the book, you drop the book, you have the event, and then you go home and you're emotional or you're sad or you're lonely or you don't really have much going on in your personal life. You almost put work on the side in your personal life, and it's like there's two versions of yourself. So someone's, you're amazing, you inspire me, and then you're like, I just started crying over the same thing for the fifth time this week. How do I inspire you when I don't even know who I am? So it's almost like people put you on this pedestal where they see this perfect version of you that doesn't really exist because no one's perfect, first of all, but you separate yourself from your work and you get tired of it. It's, yes, I'm inspiring, and that's exactly why I do what I do. But if I'm not being inspired, I don't think how inspiring I'm going to be to you.
That's something Jim Rohn told me many years ago. Sometimes it's easier to teach this stuff than to live it.
Exactly. And it's hard to have to really sit with your own advice. And it's funny because I'm haunted by my own advice every single day. I turn on my podcast, I have to listen to my own voice say it. So now I have to believe it. I think the same thought. Well, I have a book now to go read and somehow take my own advice. But it's really hard because it's almost like you're really confronting your biggest lover, your biggest supporter, but also your biggest enemy, which is
Mhm.
yourself. And you have to make peace with you instead of just making people around you proud or excited or whatever, or making them feel good about themselves. You have to look in the mirror and do the same thing for you. And if you're not ready to confront that, then it's almost like you're a fraud to everyone around you.
Yeah, it's funny. I found through the years, and this is about you, so I don't want to talk about me much here, but
Love you though. So come on, go ahead.
I found sometimes after the biggest events is when I crashed.
Oh yeah.
Literally, I like went to my hotel room and just said, I gotta put my head down. Not because I was tired, oh, I don't have enough sleep, but I had given so there was nothing left of me for me. And it was like, okay, I just shook 4,000 hands. I took 8,000 pictures. I talked to all of these people. I have no idea who half of them are. And all of a sudden you just crash because there's like nothing left of you sometimes when you're giving. And you say along those lines, I had built my life around being the strong one, the healer, the motivator, the podcast host, the chronic illness warrior, the nutrition student, the girl who always knew what to say. I kept the party going. I kept the lights on. I kept showing up even when it hurt, even when it meant ignoring the exhaustion humming through my bones, even when I felt like a fraud for giving advice I couldn't follow.
No, and it's so interesting. My podcast is called Taking Care of Your Body by Rye, but if I don't take care of my body and I'm Rye, it's like, how am I telling millions of people to take care of themselves when I'm not even doing it? It's almost like I'm a fraud. And I think that's one of the hardest things because it's like we all kind of work sometimes in survival mode. You go and we really train our minds and bodies to think we're this machine, but we also feel and we have feelings and emotions and we can't do it all at once. So it gets to the point where you're just like, I am tired of being tired, and I'm tired of pouring so much of myself into this when I'm not even believing what I'm doing. And I think when you get to that point, that's always that point to everyone listening, that you should really listen to your body and see, check in with yourself, see what you need. Maybe you need a break, maybe you need a minute, maybe you need to call off work for the next day and take a mental health day. I believe in that so much. I truly do. And I think if you don't listen to yourself, no one else is going to want to listen to what you have to say because you're not even confident in yourself and in what you're saying. So it's almost like you got to fake it till you make it. But I don't like to fake anything. I'm very vulnerable and authentic. So I've even said on my podcast, I don't feel well today, but I'm taking care of myself by being here and putting myself out there, or even just being a little bit vulnerable on an Instagram story. I feel crappy today, but I'm here to remind you that even the most successful people or inspiring people have bad days too. And I think just flipping the mirror and reminding people that no one is perfect and we all have hard days, even your favorite person you follow on Instagram or your favorite podcaster or your favorite businessman or whoever it might be, we all have hard days where we don't feel well and we don't really believe in our own work, but we keep doing it because that's exactly why.
And sometimes it is true because sometimes the healer needs to be healed,
Truly.
you
And
know? So
no,
let's
I love that.
let's talk about timelines.
Let's talk about it. I'm ready.
Okay. Talk about your timelines.
Like I mentioned to you, I think something that really bothers me is people use age as an excuse. Oh, you're only 18, so you what, had your heart broken by a boy and failed a few math classes. Or you're 25, so you are gonna graduate grad school soon and then you're gonna get married and have a baby and have this happen and that happen. And I think it's hard when we live in this world that expects us to follow this thing. We're born, then we go to we walk, we learn how to walk, we learn how to talk, all of the basic baby stuff. We go to preschool, we go to elementary school, then we go to middle school, high school. We graduate high school at 18, then we go directly to college. We get a job, we find love, we get married, we have a kid, then what? We grow old and then we die. No, it doesn't work that way for everyone. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think what's wrong is for people to think that just because you're doing something different means it's wrong. And I've experienced that in my life. I've had people tell me, you have to do this a certain way, and because you didn't, I don't like you. And I think that it's hard for a while to accept because I am very empathetic and I really take things to heart. So I was like, you don't like me because I did something for myself. I put myself first for once. But I think you have to realize that it's less about other people and it's your life. You have to choose what's best for you and the path that you will succeed best in. And if that's not going to college until you're 30 or finding love at 50, do that because you are the author of your own life and you have to truly follow your own path. And there's nothing wrong with creating your own timeline.
Love it. Love it. No one tells you that healing doesn't arrive like fireworks. Woof. That's a good line.
Thank you. I think we're all waiting for the round of applause. You did the work, you got a therapist, you blocked the toxic person, you didn't show up to that job because it wasn't fitting for you anymore, you stopped drinking, whatever. And it's no one claps for you. No one does that. No one says, congratulations, you're healing. No one makes you a cake. I probably would, though. I always would make you a cake. That's the kind of person I am. But no one really does. No one hands you a cake and says, congrats on healing. And I think it's hard because it's almost, if you're not celebrating me for it, is it actually happening? It's like a birthday. I don't know if I've ever had a birthday where I didn't have a birthday cake. If you don't celebrate your birthday, it's almost like it didn't actually happen. I think it's the same thing with healing. And if you don't acknowledge it's happening or no one around you is, hey, I'm proud of you, here's a pat on the back, let's go get ice cream, it almost feels like it's not. And I think that line I wanted to show people healing sometimes is quiet and you don't really hear it. And sometimes you're going to be like, am I actually healing because I'm having some horrible thoughts or I'm going to go back down the rabbit hole? But usually those moments remind you that you are because healing isn't linear and it often happens when you feel like it's a mess and you're not even in the middle of it. So I wanted to remind people that just because you might not see the progress you're doing doesn't mean it's not there.
It's funny because as an athlete, when you're getting stronger, because you
Right,
lift more weights,
right.
okay, or you can run the mile faster, or you can do whatever it happens to be that you're doing, and you can gauge it. You know what I mean? Like if you're on a diet and you step on a scale and you weigh less today than you did yesterday, okay, things are going in the right direction. The problem with emotional healing, and I love your input on this, with emotional healing is we don't see it.
No,
And the world doesn't necessarily see it. Sometimes they do. Sometimes other people see stuff in us that go, "Hey, you're doing better. You're happier. You're
right.
whatever." But how did you know when you were turning that corner? How did you feel? Like, how did you monitor it, or how did you go, "Hey, you know what? I'm getting better."
I think when you realize, yeah, it's hard and so much of it is out of your control. You can't really, people are like, oh, don't think about it, or oh, just that person hurt your feelings. Block them and remove them from your life. And it's almost unfortunately when someone is imprinted on you or in your nervous system or in your day to day, it's going to be hard to remove someone or remove something from your every single day. But I think what I realized is not letting those negative thoughts and feelings, whatever, drive the car. Like, yes, they're going to come and they're going to go. And I always say thoughts are like waves, they come and then they go. So just reminding myself, like, yes, I might have a bad thought. And then I really started timing them too. And this is how I really noticed. I was like, yep, okay, you know what? I'm going to spiral over this horrible situation. I can only think about it for 10 minutes and that's it. And then it got to 5, and then it got to 4, and then it got to 3. And then suddenly I stopped thinking about it. And I realized all of the work I was doing with my therapist, with my life, and what I was focusing on and pouring my energy into, because that is so important too. Just really listening to your body and surrounding yourself with people that benefit your healing, not make you go 5 steps backwards. And doing things for myself, I was like, wait, I am so happier. My life is so full and so noisy in a beautiful way, of course. I can't even think of what broke me. And I think that is when I realized like I didn't have space for what was holding me back anymore, because I created a life filled with so much noise and happiness and love and light that, yeah, it still tried to creep in every now and then, but I learned how to tell it to shut up because it wasn't resonating with who I was. And I think just realizing it's okay to put those thoughts and feelings and emotions and whatever. Yeah, obviously write about them. It will make a great book. Come on, journal it down, be a little emotional for a little bit, and then realize it's okay to put it in the box in the closet of lessons. Tie it up, give it maybe a nice bow if it was a good box. If it was a situation you don't like, don't give it a pretty bow. But you can put it in the closet. You don't have to carry it with you forever. And I believe in that, because it's like there's this quote I love, and it's like, you continue to take the same bricks that tried to break you, you are going to build the same house. And it's so true. If you don't let go of what broke you, you will continue to find the same exact experience in other people, other situations, and other environments. So I think just really realizing like building my dream life means I have to remove what makes me feel like shit about myself. And when I did that, I had no space for those people to come back. That's when I realized I was happier.
It was said of Winston Churchill that he took the English language and he sent it into battle. What you've done with this book is exactly what it says on the back cover. She didn't just survive the pain, she turned it into poetry. Because this is a beautiful book, folks. Okay, this is not only is it a beautiful book, it's a real book about a real person. Okay, it's not fantasy, it's not made up, it's not a bunch of whatever. It's based on somebody's life, a young life. Okay, she's still a young woman, but at the end of the day, she's got so much to contribute just with this book. Now, the important question, Rye, where did they get it?
If you are a beautiful soul and you want to buy my book, first of all, I want to know where you live. No, I'm kidding. I want to make you cookies, but you can have my book instead. And then maybe me and John can work on giving me a food business and I'll mail you some cookies. You can buy my book on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com, and that's about it for right now, but there's going to be plenty more places. I don't let anything stop me, and I'm a very determined girl. So I'm sure by the time this is out, I'll let John know if some other distributors picked it up, because nothing stops Rylin Rossano, if we've learned anything.
I think we know that already, but all right. And then, of course, the next question is what's next? You already mentioned you're writing another book already. So tell us about that.
I am writing another book, and it's funny because I'm sure you know who Taylor Swift is, right?
I've heard of her once or twice. I think she's dating a football player.
Yeah, definitely. I know you have daughters, but it's funny because it's almost like I'm going to be the next Taylor Swift with this book. It's like something happens and boop, there's another book. Taylor does it with her albums. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to come out, but I know I feel things and I like to document them. And that's all going to go into this next book that's going to be very poetic and the sister of Once Upon a Time I Survived Myself, but almost like the after I survived myself, what happens next. So I'm really excited for the world to have it. And what's next will be Rylin continuing to grow into the best version of herself and publicly show her healing journey, because I am not scared to show the real, authentic me online and offline, what is what you get in both spaces. So, podcasting, my Take Care of Your Body by Rye global podcast, I will keep growing that and posting on my Instagram accounts and just putting out my love and lessons into the world, because there's always someone who needs to hear them.
Absolutely. You're helping people to heal. And
Thank you, John.
that's the number one reason that we're put on this planet, I think, is to help other people. And you're doing that. And this is a great book. It's amazing what you've done already. Because when you told me you were writing a book when we first met, I was like, okay, send me the book. And then I was like, okay, let me read this. And I couldn't put it down. I picked it up, I think it was Saturday afternoon. Today's what, Wednesday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
And I read about half of it Saturday afternoon, and only because I had a dinner meeting did I have to put it down. And then I picked it up yesterday afternoon. And I texted you after. I think I surprised you. I said, "Yeah, I'll be with in a week."
I was like, what?
Oh, yeah, and it's a great read. It's an easy read, but that doesn't mean that the
Con-
complexities of Rye's life and what she's overcome are easy. Okay, it's not fluff; it's real stuff.
my mom read it in one day and she's like, whoa, that was, even though I was with you on a lot of that, was a lot to take
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you put it together. So thank you, my friend. And hey, folks, buy Rye's book and share Rye's book with other people that, maybe at a point in their lives too where they're hurting or they need inspiration, or they're a young person who says, I can't because I'm too young. What's your reaction to you're too young, Rye?
I did, so you can too. You
There
know
you
what?
go.
Not age is just a number. There is so much out there that we can learn from one another, and I don't care if you're 6 years old, 10 years old, or 14 years old. I'm willing to learn from anyone.
Thank you. Keep inspiring, kiddo.
Thank you so much, and thanks for reading my book, John. It makes me so happy, and I want to go cry in the corner because I look up to you so much.
Wow. Listen, I admire you, and I just can't wait to see the good Lord hopefully gives me another 20 or 30 years because the stuff you're going to do. I'm going to go, I knew her when she was like 18 years old.
Thank you so much, John.
President Rossano. Never know.
Hey, you never know. You never know. I think that's more my sister, though. She's in the law field. So I think we're going to get it from her. I think I could be a great campaign manager. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Oh, you do a good job at that, I bet. Yeah. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check back weekly for more exciting episodes. And don't miss Ink and Insight every Wednesday, where we celebrate iconic authors and dive into their impactful works.